Hi there, and welcome to Annie Richardson Consulting Blogger Tech Tips. Today we're going to be talking about installing plugins. Okay, so what you're looking at here is a basic dashboard with nothing on it. There is one plugin actually here. We are going to delete that. All that is it's called Hello Dolly, and when you're on the admin screen, it gives you some nice little phrases from the music. That's really cool, but I don't want any more plugins than I have to have. So I'm going to delete that, and I click delete. And it's going to ask me if I'm sure I want to delete it. I'm going to say yes. Now I have no plugins. So I need to add a few. There's just a few that I want you to add right away. The first one is Akismet. So we're going to add new. And it happens to be right here, but if it's not, you would simply search for it by typing in Akismet right there, okay? So we're going to say install now. This is all about anti-spam. This will help keep your website clean, keep those nasty comments off that are just spam and robots and things like that. Two things you want to look for in any plugins. You want to look for how many installations. 5.1 million active installations. You want to look and see how many stars it has. This one has got quite a few really good stars. And most importantly, you want to look for last updated. This one happens to be last updated 6 days ago. And, if it's last updated 6 months ago, probably not a good idea. That just means the developer's not really keeping up with the plugin. You want to check and make sure it is compatible with the version of WordPress that we're actually using. So you want to click on Install Now. And while this is installing, you'll notice Jetpack over here. Sometimes that comes pre-installed on your system. I would uninstall that so you don't have anything there when you start this process. So I've installed it. Now there's something I have to do, and that's called Activate. So I'm going to activate the plugin. And it's going to bring me over here to tell me that it is activated. You can see, but it says deactivate here. Okay. It says my site is fully configured, but don't believe that for a second. You want to click on Settings. Now you can use the free version of this plugin with no problems at all, but more often than not, you're really going to want to upgrade to the $5 version. But if you don't already have an API key in there, you'll need to get one. And if you have trouble with that, let me know and I will help you with that. If you want the other plugin, then you just simply go to Akismet, tell it you want to upgrade the free plugin, and it will take care of it for you. Okay, so it's going to show you the number of approved comments beside each comment and the author. Okay, it's going to silently discard the worst and the most pervasive spam, which is what you want. You don't want to have to go through all the spam and delete it yourself. You can, if you wish, put it in the spam folder, and then you have to go through it and say whether it's spam or not. You probably should display a privacy notice under your comment forms that says that you're protected by Akismet Anti-Spam. And it shows down here that I'm on the Akismet Basic or Free plugin. So I want to save the changes. Okay, so that's how you do the anti-spam. For now, I'm going to disconnect this account and show you how to get your API key. Okay, so you want to log in or sign up. You're going to get your API key here. And you're going to say, I want to activate it. It's going to ask you to log in, I think I've already, yeah. And here is your options here. I do the plus, the $5 per month, because I find that that works best for commercial sites. It's more than just spam protection. It supports all your advanced sites, and it also gives you advanced statistics as well as some support. So I would simply do the Get Plus here. You put in your payment information, whether you want to pay monthly, yearly, so forth, so on, and then you check out. Okay, it's going to ask you to, say whether or not you want to log in, create an account, and so forth. If you have already done this step, you can simply go to your account and it will show you, and I have already done this step, so you can see up here where it says already have an API key. You click there, and it's going to tell you exactly how to go about installing and activating your Akismet plugin. Okay, it's going to give you an API key, or you can manually enter it. That's what happens when you purchase the $5 one. Otherwise, it will give you one, and you simply say activate it and use it, and everything is great. Okay, but if you do have questions, you can always go to Docs Akismet Getting Started and activate, and it will show you everything you need to know. So we're going to activate this. Already have your key. Connect with it here. And that's mine, and you connect with it right there. I think. Come on, there it comes. It's a little slow today. Must be because I'm doing all this other stuff. Anyway, so the other thing, it's now protecting. You see, happy plugging? Okay. So will you go back to plugins? The next thing that you want to do is you want to install a plugin that is used a lot, and I do mean a lot. And one of the most common ones that I use, Gutenberg, is on most everything in WordPress now. But just in case it's not, you should install that. That is your better editor. And you simply just install it and activate it, just like that. Okay? The next plugin that I would install is Social Pug. People used to use Social Warfare, and there are several others, but Social Warfare has been known to have issues. So we're going to install Social Pug, and you simply find it again, and you say install now. And as you can see, it was updated 2 months ago. It's got a lot of active installations, and it is compatible. So we want to install it, and then we're going to go back over here to settings. And unless you pay for the paid version, then this is the simple one you get. It does your floating sidebar and your inline content, and that's it. And that's fine. That works for the beginning anyway. Excuse me. So for settings, you need to see, you have some options. You can choose the button spacing, whether or not to show it on the mobile, your share counts. Now, Social Pug has some issues with share counts right now, and there's another blog post that talks about that. You can select the social networks, and really you don't have much choice here if you're only using the free version. The paid version, of course, gives you many other options. But that's pretty much the way that it works, and it's going to go on whatever we put in our theme in order to make this work. Okay, and then they'll be able to just click on the sharing buttons, and it will work just fine. Okay, you have some other options here. I like to go to settings just to be sure. If you have a Facebook app, and that's what you do to get the count going, and that's another thing that we'll use. You put your Twitter name here. You want to check. You want to make sure that Open Graph Meta Tags is enabled. So don't click that box. You can enable Twitter tweet counts as well. Okay, and then all your sharings is going to give you some more options of how it looks and whether it's sticky and so forth and so on. But these are additional tools, and they do cost money. So just so that you know that. So that's Social Pug. Okay. The next thing that you want to install, a plugin. Goodness. So we've got Akismet, we've got Social Pug, and then you're going to want some sort of an optimizer. I use SG Optimize, I think, or Optimizer. I'm sorry, add new. Look for SG Optimizer. there it is. And you want, that's the SiteGround optimizer. You want another type if you're, using some other type of hosting service. Goodness. So one of the better ones is WP Fastest Cache. I actually like that better, even if I was on SiteGround. Last updated 18 hours ago versus 1 month ago. 900,000 active installations and compatible. So let's install that now and activate it. For the most part, there are no options on that. It just simply works. Okay, so we have anti-spam, we have our social media, and we have a cache. And what the cache does is allow your system to run just a little bit faster. Now, there are several other things that you're going to want to install later. I would advise you to be careful. The more plugins you have, the more it takes, the more speed it takes away from you. Okay, so be careful about your plugins. Be careful about which ones you choose and how many that you actually have. But this will certainly get you started. There are several others that we're going to need here in the future too. Analytics, Google.com. And then it's going to ask you to log in to your site. Okay, so I'm going to log out of mine. And you're going to log in using your Gmail account. So I'm going to use an old one that I have so that I can get this. Sorry. Yeah, okay. Like I said, old one, right? So I've logged in there. Now I want to go to Google Analytics. And I go back and I say Analytics, Google.com. As you can see, I'm logged in as Annie Richardson, right? The one I just did. So you go to Admin and Tracking Info right here and so forth. So you're going to want to create a property, put in your website information, I think he's under HTTPS. Just like that, okay? You give it what industry you're in. Is it arts and entertainment? What is your local time zone? And then you say get tracking ID, okay? And it's going to give you a tracking ID. There are two things that I want to show you before we call this one a day. The first thing we're going to do is install one more plugin for Google Analytics. So let's go to Plugins. Let's go to Add New. And what I normally do is just type in Google Analytics. There are many plugins that you can use for Google Analytics. But there's one I recommend more than others, and that is the WordPress plugin by Monster Insights. So if you want to install now and activate, it's going to walk you through some things. Let's help you get set up. It is a business website. And if you're using the Monster Insights Lite, you don't need a license key. You can upgrade to Pro with a 50% off, so forth. But for now, let's just use the free version. We're going to connect Monster Insights in WordPress. It is going to authenticate. Remember the email address that you used to actually sign in a few minutes ago. My mistake. And it's going to ask you if you want to agree and allow all of these things to happen, and of course you do. And so it's going to look here. There's a couple of profiles. You want the one for your blog, which is this, in this case, all website data, right? So if you pull that down, you can see where I've actually got two assigned to this account. we're going to use the one that we just created, which is the -2, right? And it will come up with the Don Richardson All website data. Complete connection. It's going to finalize your authentication. And you walk through a few more things. Do you want to have your events tracked? Do you want to have it enhanced link attribution? Some of these are only things you can do once you've upgraded. File download tracking. Of course, it would make sense. You want to see what files have been downloaded so that you can find out if that is, you know, a good one, something that went viral, so forth and so on. If you have affiliates, you're going to have information here, and you can add some paths for that. You can decide who you want to be able to see the reports, install your updates automatically, and help you improve. These are optional. I usually, if it's not a website I care a whole lot about, I let it install it automatically. The downside of this is if there is a bug, you know, it can mess up your site. But if you do daily updates or daily backups of some sort, or your site manager does, then you should be fine here. We're going to leave that for now. Save and continue. Of course, you can add your add-ons here and upgrade. Save and continue. It does recommend WP Forms. I don't necessarily recommend that, so we're going to skip this step. It's going to check it out. It says you're all set and it's ready to use. We verified that it's in there and it's deployed and it's collecting data. So finish setup and exit wizard. It will tell you, you know, that you're using the light version. If you get a key, you put it here. This is the active profile. You can allow usage tracking if you want. It really is more for Monster Insights than it is for you, but they track whether or not how you use their data. You are good to go. Now when you go to your dashboard, you will see Monster Insights Overview Report on your main screen. Most of these things are going to be breakdowns that are only available in the Pro version. Now, let me tell you, these things are also available in Google Analytics if you just go straight to Google Analytics. It's not that important. This is just one of those really cool things that you can see, kind of an overview of what's going on at your site. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is look at two things, updates and plugins. You'll see that there are 5 updates. That means that there are probably plugins, updates, theme changes, all sorts of others. This means that there's one plugin that needs updated. Let's just go ahead and go to the 5. So click on updates. It says I have the latest version of actually WordPress. So we're going to look at that. So as you can see, Social Pug needs updating. You select all and update plugins. Anytime you're updating, pay attention to the Facebook groups. Someone will have already tested it and let you know if there are any bugs and whether or not to install that update. In our Facebook group, I also notify you as well as Grayson Bell does. So use either one of those and check either one of those before you install any of your plugins. As you can see, it is updating Social Pug. It may take a minute. It's okay to go ahead and look at the updates while that's happening. Okay, you can see that the other thing that wants to be updated is the themes. Now, let me tell you why I bother to do this. Even if you don't use these things, if they are in your WordPress installation, it is very possible that they have vulnerabilities in there and that could be exploited. So you still want to update any themes that are still existing in your WordPress, and you simply select all and update themes. And that's all there is to it. And as they update, you'll see these number change. As you can see, Social Pug was updated. It is now updating various themes. So What we've done today is just go through several plugins, the very basic plugins that I recommend that are installed in your beginning WordPress. There are several other plugins that will come about as you grow your blog. But for now, these are just very simple plugins that you're going to want to install. Just so that you know and you can see, I'm going to show you one more time the ones I recommend. Kismet Anti-Spam, Google Analytics by Monster Insights, the Gutenberg plugin, SocialPug, and WP Fastest Cache. Those are the ones that I recommend just as soon as you install your WordPress, that's where you start. There are several other things that you should do, such as email and some other things that you need to do once you finally get your installation installed. There are several blog posts that I have about this. Look for the one called Next Steps, and it will tell you, kind of walk you through all of these things to make sure that you have a successful installation and are ready to go. Until next time, happy blogging. You've been watching Blogger Tech Tips by Annie Richardson Consulting. Visit us at https://AnnieRichardsonConsulting.com. Until next time, happy blogging.